Well, folks, I do not know what happened, but the OBS, I went to do the update and it wouldn't do the update. So, whoops. We don't have sound here, do we? Or do we have sound here? I'm trying to get a show going here, but I don't know what to do exactly because my OBS crashed on me. My OBS crashed on me. And I'm trying to figure out how to see if my sound is any good. Is anybody here watching? Are we even live? I do not know. Are we live? Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Can you hear me? I don't know how the OBS happened to crash, but it did, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do everything I want to do tonight, but we're going to try it anyway. What do you say? We will give it the old college try. We'll give it the old college try. And I don't know, I'm not an expert in OBS by any means, but man, what a mess. What a mess. Thank you. If you can hear me, does my sound, is it coming through this mic or is it coming through my computer? I wish I could tell, but I can't right now for some reason. Settings. Overlay for breaks. That's not what I'm looking for. Sounds like the mic. Okay. Well, let's just go ahead and go for it then. Let's just go ahead and go for it. We'll see what's going on. It has nothing to do with moving the mic away from my face. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. But I've been doing this a little while. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but we're going to try to get through this. This is a great deprogram. I really hope that, the scene's all off and everything. And man, OBS is such a pain in the ass. But here we go. This is the real gospel truth. I'm the entertainer formerly known as the Christian whistleblower. This is all, of course, parody and entertainment purposes only. Thank you, Brandon. But we're the real gospel truth now, and we're the real gospel truth because gospel is a word that predates Christianity by at least 1,000 years. It means good news of the victories and the majesty of the heathens, which is us. And of course, the Christians stole it, turned it around, made it into the message of their fake Jesus. They stole that word. We're taking it back. You can go to realgospeltruth.org. A couple of ways to donate there. And also you can get your nanosoma, which gets everything out of you that's not supposed to be in you. And you can get your Focus Life Force Energy as well. Sorry, I'm a little bit off because, I just having that mess up on me at the last minute is kind of nerve-wracking. Please do like and share the video. Helps us with the YouTube algorithm. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I think it leaves me down in the very bottom or something like that, which is kind of ideal. There I am in the bottom, but that's okay. I'm looking the wrong way, but hey, we got to do what we got to do. There's probably a way to change that, but I don't know what it is. And it looks like the sound's really low. If it is, I'm sorry, but let's go ahead and jump into this. This is the ancient Charlie code. This is Charlemagne, who is the hero of all Christians, especially those within the Christian nationalists and the Christian identity movement. This is Charlemagne. And of course, this is Charlie Kirk. And as you'll see, they are both Charlies. So let's move on with this. Charlemagne was Charlie. Charlemagne, I believe, is the French for Charles or Charlie. He's also known as Charles the Great. He was the king of the Franks, the Lombards, and the emperor of the Carolingian Empire starting in the year 800. He united most of Western and Central Europe and was the first recognized emperor to rule from the West since the fall of the Western Empire. So Charlemagne is the hero of all Christianity. And before we get really rolling, let me say, hail Dagda, hail Danu, hail Dawn, hail Bridget, hail Morrigan, hail the folk, the kin, the cousins, my ancestors, my dad. And hello to Brandon, to Kylie, to Nadawan, Family Plan, Carmen. Who else is here? Sassafras is here. JT's here. The Smoocherino is here, or just Smoochy if you're into that brevity thing. So anyway, let's jump right in and say what's what. So Charlie Kirk is also Charlie. Charlemagne was Charlie. Charlie Kirk is also Charlie. Charlie Kirk is, of course, a Charlie too. His full name is Charles James Kirk. And of course, it was on purpose. Of course, it was intentional. And most of you know that Star Trek's Captain James T. Kirk, the T stands, hey, Kelly, the T, Juan Galvez, the most aromatic coffee. James T. Kirk, the T stands for Tiberius, who was the second emperor of Rome and a great military leader. The Charlie Kirk character is calling pliable Christian minds back to Charlemagne and robbing glory from us original great heathen people. So the rise of Charlemagne, the rise of Charles, the rise of Charlie, let's talk about that. In November of 800, Pope Leo met the approaching Charlemagne 12 miles from Rome and accompanied to the gates, evoking the very entry of the great Caesar himself. And I find it funny, not laughable funny, but sick to my stomach, throw up a little bit in my mouth funny, that these Christians love to try to duplicate, steal our word gospel. They love to duplicate the entry of our great leaders, and yet they claim to hate us. And then Charlemagne presided over, in the next month, the opening of a council in the Vatican that absolved the Pope himself of adultery, of perjury. And then that same council that Charlemagne headed to absolve the Pope of adultery and perjury, that same council then decided to make Charlemagne the emperor. You read that right. Everyone has a dossier. See my show, Agent Erica, on this channel. See the other D program. Wow, what a show. Hello, Her Majesty, for all the great background information on this. So Charlemagne became emperor, at least in part, because he pardoned the Pope from adultery and perjury. And in return, the Pope crowned Charlemagne the king of all of Europe. And the pardoned Pope Leo, say that 3 times fast, illustrated his subservience to the new emperor by laying on his face flat on the floor before Charlemagne. Kind of how all the Christians are flat on their face on the floor before the new Charlemagne or before the Charlie Kirk character. And this is the Holy Roman Empire that the Christian nationalists and the Christian identityists revere, and they want to drag us back into it. But you know what? We don't need to be dragged back into this. We've got this right now. We've already got government in bed with church. We've already got church in bed with government. We've already got them ruling with each other and enriching each other while we are the ones that clam under the table trying to eat the few crumbs that they drop. Now, moving forward from being made king, Charlemagne, Charles, Charlie, he protected the papacy and he became its chief defender. And never forget that he spread Christianity by force, as seen at the massacre of Verdun. Have you ever heard of the massacre of Verdun? He beheaded, I'll get to the numbers here. He called all the heathen leaders together, said, hey, we're just going to talk, Donald Mark, and we're just going to have a talk. Ended up beheading all of them. Charlemagne is considered to be the most glorious king of European history, and he took important measures for Christianity's future, which is killing everybody that doesn't agree with you. Charlie Kirk is, and I do say is, Charlie Kirk is a liar, and so are all of his followers. Christianity has always been a religion of the sword, and I'm going to show you the tape that proves it. I've shown you before. I'm going to show you again if on this new system I can figure out how to get over to my X channel. I think I can. Now, I understand. I really do. I have some empathy. I don't have much sympathy, but I have some empathy for people. And with the moral chaos that's abounding in this world today, a lot of people that are evangelicals, they wonder if the nation wouldn't be better if the church were in charge. But, what if the church was responsible for starting the moral chaos that makes everybody say, man, I wish the church was in charge? We hear calls now, especially now, for the good old days of Christendom, a return to the sword and shield world where church and state combine efforts. That's the world of Charlemagne. That's the world of Charlie. That's the ancient Charlie code. It's the same old Christian PsyOp. It's the new Christian PsyOp. Same as the old Christian PsyOp, even under the same name, Charlemagne, Charles, Charlie. It might serve us all. Maybe. It might serve us all well if we would at least be somewhat aware of the history of how the church has used state violence for its purposes, particularly as conversations about theonomy or theocracy and Christian nationalism surge in the daily media. What's old is new again. And to this end, Charles the Great, or Charlemagne, is really the one central crucial figure that we have to look at. And we have to look at his legacy of military conquest performed in the name of the Christ character. We're operating on kind of a shoestring tonight. OBS crashed on me. I'm going to have to go back in and put in all of my broadcast settings. So we're coming to you straight out of the YouTube studio and exclusively on YouTube tonight. So Charlie, this Charlie, and Catholicism ruled the world, and the new Charlie and Catholicism, remember, he's converting. He's already converted now, and they want to rule the world again. Charlemagne codified or made official the partnership between the emperor and the pope. And it was Charlemagne that established the union of church and state to make Christianity Europe's most powerful authority, all at the edge of the sword. And that's exactly what Christianity wants to do again today. And remember, they're lying about history. You don't know about this Charlemagne code, this Charlie code, but tonight you will know. And one of the key features of this partnership between church and state then and now is that Charlemagne used state coercion to convert, quote unquote, heathens to Christianity. And here's why. Christianity as a religion cannot defeat our indigenous ancient religions of our people without killing us. They can't beat us unless they gang up on us. They can't win a fair fight. And I don't want to get in trouble, but, I grew up in the South, and I remember that there are a certain group of people that typically are known for not ever fighting one-on-one. You can't get in a fight with just one of this ethnic group, because all of a sudden here's all these others jumping in on you. They're afraid to fight man to man. I'm talking about the Christians now. They're afraid to fight intellectually man to man. They're afraid to fight spiritually man to man. And they're certainly afraid to fight, I think, kinetically, if we ever have to again, man to man. Kelly Hughes shows us how deep the PsyOp is, because Charlemagne has always been painted as a hero. Now, that was back in the 1960s when she was in parochial school, which is Catholic school. But They don't history much now, but when they do, Charlemagne is the knight in shining armor. And Charlemagne's use of violence to create Christians serves as the model for today, and it served as the model for the last 1,000 years. And this is exactly who Pete Hegseth is talking about when he said we have to fight like our Christian brothers did 1,000 years ago. See my program called Onward Christian Soldiers and Secretary of Holy War right here on this channel. And when Charlemagne became king, his first act was to lead his army to war against the heathen Saxons of the north. And his first military move was to desecrate the Irminsul, which was a tree used for the peaceful worship by the Saxon people. And Charlemagne forced prisoners of war to confess Christ and be baptized or die. You have to understand this. I've caught Charlie Kirk lying. I'll show it to you at the end. Stay tuned. It proves that everything I'm saying is 100% correct. Charlemagne forced prisoners of war to confess the Christ character and be baptized, and they counted them as Christian conversions. When you hear people say that the world was converted to Christ, that means the world was conquered and was given a choice between dying at the edge of the Roman short sword or converting to Christianity. It's just that simple. And the Irminsul was a sacred pillar-like object that played an important role in the spirituality of our fathers. Medieval sources describe how an Irminsul was destroyed by Charlemagne. You know, you hear all these Christians and you see these videos. These Christians are so upset that the Muslims are destroying icons and the Muslims are destroying statues, and Black Lives Matter is pulling down statues and memorials. But they started out doing the very same thing. And if they come to power again, they will do the same thing again. And not only did he destroy the Irminsul, not only did they destroy sacred groves, not only did they destroy heathen places of worship, then they turned around and built churches over the top of them. That's called stolen frill, stolen honor, stolen valor, stolen virtue. You see, sacred trees and sacred groves have always been venerated by our people. We love to be in nature. They love to be in these grossly ornate buildings surrounded by starving people and in the most cities that had the most destitute poverty, but they've got these palaces to worship in. That's not the way of our people. Does it tie into Tartaria? That's a great question. That's not the way of our people. We want to be in nature. We want to be out amongst the creation of the Most High, the Great Spirit. They want to gather together in creations of their own hands, or like Brandon has just pointed out many times, things that we created and they stole. It's crazy. Now, we've all heard of the Yggdrasil. That was an immense and is an immense ash tree that's central to the cosmos, and we consider it very holy. Our gods go there daily to assemble at their traditional governing assemblies. And the tree is an example of the sacred groves and trees in heathenism. Now, Yggdrasil was an ash tree. It was a tree made out of ash. Here's a picture of it, a artist rendering of it. And here's Charlemagne, and here they are hacking down the Irminsul, just like the terrible Muslims and the Black Lives Matter people and the crazy liberals of Antifa want to tear down all of the structures of our old people. Like Brandon says, nature is where we find solace. The forest is, as Brandon says, for rest. Now, did you know that the Yggdrasil was a great ash tree, and now baseball or baseball bats are made of ash wood. I think it is a modern day in your face that they take the ash tree of our fathers, the ash tree of our ancestors, and they make baseball bats out of ash wood. Baseball, baseball, very Masonic. And I must say that people of a certain persuasion own Major League Baseball teams at a greatly disproportionate level. And it just drives me crazy when good broadcasters are out there wearing LA Dodgers hats and San Francisco Giants, and they're wearing these accoutrements of the Masonic people of a certain persuasion that are making fun of our people. Oh, Jeff, they don't know. That might be even worse, that they don't know. Now, make no doubt about it. Make no mistake about it. Charlemagne and the church ruled with the sword then, and Charlie Kirk and his followers will rule with the sword now if we allow them to. Heathens were forced to surrender their fatherland by a pledge, promising to be Christians and to subdue themselves to Charlemagne. Their wives, their children, a multitude without number, came and had to be baptized, became hostages, all of this at the point of a sword. And Charlemagne regarded his military crusades as his Christian duty. So does Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War. So do all the forces of MAGA. So does Talking Points, Turning Point USA. So do the Christian nationalists. So do the Christian identity types. Saxony, and then Europe as a whole was converted to Christianity after bloody campaign after bloody campaign that saw tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of deaths. It's called ethnic cleansing. It's called genocide. And that is how Christianity came to be what it is today. What a great religion. What a great religion. Do you understand what I'm saying to you folks? Are you comprehending what you're hearing? It's horrible. Now, to the Pope, Charlemagne wrote these words: by the grace of God, by His Holiness Pope Leo, I will defend the most holy seat of the Roman Catholic Church. It's our part to defend the Church of Christ from the attacks of pagans and heathens and infidels without and within, and to enforce the acceptance of the Catholic faith. The reality is, the heathens, the pagans, the infidels, we never attacked the churches until we had to do out of self-defense. And they're trying to push us to that place again today. And if they do, they'll be sorry. And they wanted to enforce the acceptance of the Catholic faith. Now, if you'll see and look and observe, Charlie Kirk, evangelical, becoming Catholic. Pete Hegseth, Catholic. Vance, Catholic. Trump, what is he? Who knows? But the more it gets down the line, the more it's morphing into, Rapid Dog, a Roman Catholic crusade. And it's your part, Most Holy Father, he said, to aid us in the good fight by raising your hands to God as Moses did. Wow. Charlemagne believed he was doing the Lord's work by preaching with tongues of iron. Preaching with tongues of iron. Let's put a halt to this right now just for 1 second. Preaching with tongues of iron. I've got to show you something. Charlemagne said he wanted to preach with tongues of iron, right? He wanted to preach with tongues of iron. That reminds me of something that comes out of the book of Revelation. Book of Revelation. This is kind of a terrible view, but let's do the best that we can. This is Bible Hub. Don't own it. Don't get paid by them. But I'm trying to find this verse, and I want to show you how you can do what I do. I want to find ruling with a rod of iron, because remember, Charlemagne said that he rules and fights with iron, but I want to find rod of iron. Rod of iron. Or was it an iron scepter? I want to find an iron scepter. Is it iron scepter? See, this is how you find things in the Bible. Iron scepter. Well, that's not it. Let's just, what was it? It was treads this is it right here. Revelations 19:15. So what is he saying here? This is Jesus. They say it's the Jesus character, right? And the Jesus character says that he shall rule with a rod of iron. Whoa. Whoa. Charlemagne said he was preaching the gospel with rods of iron. And here comes Jesus at the second coming, so-called, to rule with a rod of iron. And it says that he's coming with a sword out of his mouth in verse 15 to smite the nations. Well, Jeff, he's just going to kill all the bad people. Well, if you actually look at it, smite the nations, he's going to rule the nations. That is the Gentiles, all the ethnicities. Wait a second. You're telling me that Jesus is coming just like Charlemagne did to kill all the Gentiles. What's a Gentile? If you're not Jewish, you're a Gentile. And even though you're worshiping Jesus, he's coming back to kill you. Jeff Darty didn't say it. Jeff Darty read it to you right out of the Bible. A sharp sword, and this is so much exactly what Constantine said. He's going to have a sharp sword. He's going to have a sharp sword, and he's going to rule with iron. It's a direct callback to Charlemagne. Wow. You can't make this stuff up. That's how real this is. That really ought to get your attention. You really ought to be saying, what about now? You really should, because that is out crazy. This is who Hegseth was talking about, man. This is who Hegseth was talking about. And speaking of Hegseth, following Pope Urban's speech, the crowd erupted into what would become the Crusaders' battle cry. Hey, Philby. Deus le volt, or God wills it. They also decided at that time that Crusaders would wear a cross in their foreheads and on their shield, which they held with their right hand. Again, see my deprogram called Secretary of Holy War. So let's think about this a minute. They put the cross on their foreheads and on their shields, which was in their right hand. The shield was in their right hand. Wasn't on their right hand. The shield was in their right hand. That reminds me of the mark of the beast. That reminds me of the mark of the beast. Can I change on the fly like this? I got to wait and see if this catches up to me, because I went over to Bible Hub. I want to see if it'll change on the fly, or do I have to go back? Looks like I have to go back. So I'm going to stop my share, and then I'm going to restart my share, and we're going to look at Mark of the Beast actually say. Well, Jeff, I can't remember where Mark of the Beast was. Oh, that's okay. Just go up here in the top and type in Mark of the Beast. Mark of the beast. Okay, let's go to Revelation 16:2. That might be the one we're looking for. Pour out the earth, malignant sores, those that worship. Well, I want that one about forehead and right hand. So let's type in forehead. Now I know some people got a 5 head, but we'll just type in forehead. That doesn't quite do it. Let's do can we do forehead and right hand? Forehead, right hand. I'm typing with one hand. Don't judge me. Forehead, right hand. Oh, look at this. Here it is, Revelation 13:16. All people are required to get the mark of the beast. Let me go to this. Is it on or is it in their right hand? See if we can go to these words. On, upon, it could be in. See, in their right hand like a shield. So my point is that, man, that's something to think about. They've got the cross on their forehead. They've got the mark on the shield that's in their right hand. Woo! Wow. Wow. Is the Christian cross of the Crusaders the mark of the beast? I've seen a lot of people try to prove a lot less with a lot less. Pretty crazy, huh? Beast? I don't know. Wow, Carmen, you're right. And remember, Deus Vult, that was the cry of Charlemagne. That was the cry of the Crusaders. What does Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, have tattooed on his right arm? Oh, there it is again, his right arm that would hold the shield, that had the cross, which might be the mark of the beast. What's it say? Deus Vult. Are you starting to see why things are a little crazy? And he's got the Crusaders' cross, the Jerusalem cross, tattooed on his titty. Wow. The Christian nationalists, MAGA, Turning Point, Talking Points USA, the Kirk agenda, it's rising. It's rising. And just the other day, Pete Hegseth was discussing Nordic pagans in a speech in Quantico, Virginia. And he was saying, the military is not full of Nordic pagans, but we got too many of them. And I'm mad at the commanders for not enforcing the grooming standards more. These Nordic pagans that want to honor their religion are wearing beards, and Pete Hegseth doesn't want them to be able to wear beards. But he doesn't have any problem with the Muslim soldiers, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, soldiers wearing beards. We don't have a military full of Nordic pagans. You got a lot of black Muslims and white ones. Why isn't Pete Hegseth upset at them for wearing beards? He's only upset at the pagans for wearing beards, Michelle. Why? I think you can figure out why. Do you see where I'm going with this? Charlie's church, just like Charlie's church, Charlemagne's, wants to rule with the sword. Christendom had the military force to enforce its theology of their Jesus character. After the First Crusade, monastic military orders emerged dedicated to killing heathens and propagating the word of the Christ character. What was their number one job? To strike down the enemies of Christ, i.e., anybody that doesn't believe like them. Examples of that are aplenty, and like Charlemagne, the crusading church of the Middle Ages was comfortable using might to spread their message. They don't show mercy, and Charlemagne hoped that his coronation would mark the genesis of a Christian empire, and the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is calling for an American crusade. The days are coming, if we don't wake up, that they will once again have armies and militias dedicated to killing heathens if we let these psychopathic Christians take control of our country. A Christian empire is an empire of psychopathy, death, and destruction for anyone and everyone that won't agree with them. And it wasn't just the Crusades. There was the Teutonic Wars, which was the forced conversion of Europeans that would not be Christians. From 1230 to 1411, that's over 100 years. These Teutonic knights, these great Christian knights, were especially brutal to the heathens, roasting them alive before the shrines of their gods, probably taking the wood of the destroyed sacred groves and burning people over those fires. They forced the conversion of the heathens. The historic sources, the Teutonic Knights, the history and legacy of the Catholic Church's most famous military order, that's the book. The massacre of Verdun. During the Saxon Wars, Charlemagne invited 4,500 heathen leaders to come and have a discussion, ended up cutting their heads off. He beheaded 4,500 people. Isn't it interesting that in all of the Christian eschatological end times imagery, they're always afraid of a guillotine? Oh, you're going to have your head chopped. The Christians want to make you afraid of getting your head chopped for being a Christian, when Christians have been in the head chopping business for 1,000 years. And if Charlie Kirk has his way, if Turning Point, Talking Points USA have their way, if Pete Hegseth has his way, if Christian nationalism has its way, if Christian identity has its way, that head chopping business will be a booming. This massacre was ordered directly by Charlemagne. And don't think that the new Charlie won't do the same thing. And the Saxons lost all of their tribal leadership. And then they were easy to conquer. It's a horrible, terrible religion. Now, I know a lot of you want to trust the plan. But Charlemagne not only protected the papacy, he also spread Christianity by force. But strangely enough, while he was killing heathens, he was loving Muslims. What? Jeff, you're crazy. No. Charlemagne was killing every heathen he could get a hold of, but he was making love with Muslims. In the 790s, at the same time that he was wiping out all of the non-Christians of Europe, he was making and initiating diplomatic contact with the Abbasid Caliph Harun al-Rashid. He was the 5th Caliph of the Abbasid Caliphate. His reign is regarded to be the beginning of the Islamic Golden Age. You hear what I just read? Not only was Charlemagne killing heathens, not only was Charlemagne snuggling up to Muslims, but Christian Charlemagne initiated the Islamic Golden Age. We wouldn't have the problems with Islam we have today if Charlemagne hadn't allowed them to establish their golden age. I smell a rat. There's something foul in the state of Denmark, as Shakespeare once said. Are the Christian nationalists and the Christian ideers, and this was all a secret in Charlemagne's day, are they secretly behind this rise of Islam to scare the hell out of people so they'll run to the cross for protection when they're going to kill you anyway? Charlemagne sent a mission to offer friendship to Harun in 799, right on the heels of slaughtering all of those heathens. This is the secret Charlemagne code, the Charlie code. Today's Christian nationalists, today's Christian identity types, They're following the Charlemagne playbook. Is this coming next? This secret liaison with Muslim Islam? It's getting really deep, isn't it? I don't know what we've got to do to get more people viewing this channel. It breaks my heart that nobody's hearing this message, except for you great people. So he hated heathens, but he embraced Muslims. That's what Charlie 1.0 did. Is Charlie 2.0 going to do the same thing? It is multiple layers of deception. Two titans of their age, separated by vast religious divides, secretly exchanging gift and forging alliances, supposedly. It's not historical fiction. It's the story of Charlemagne and Harun al-Rashid. It's going to blow your mind. Charlemagne, king of the Franks, united most of Western and Central Europe, became the Christian hero, started sending gifts to the Abbasid Caliphate, a dynasty descended from Muhammad's uncle. Charlemagne was giving gifts to Muhammad's nephew. What's going on today? And when I start to point it out to you, you're going to be like, oh, he's right again. He's right again. Charlemagne cozied up to Muhammad's kin, or at least he wants you to believe he did, because it's really not clear that he did. Because the Emirate of Cordoba, the Caliphate of Cordoba, was an Arab Islamic state, but the only direct evidence for this Abbasid Carolinian diplomacy comes entirely from Christian Latin sources. So was it a lie? Was it an FF, a false banner PsyOp? The only references to it are almost contemporary, which means modern, very recent, likely forged. There is not one word written about this alliance in any Islamic sources. Am I the only one that finds that weird? Am I the only one that finds that weird? There's only one contemporary source from the Abbasid Caliphate that refers to any diplomacy with Charlemagne, and it's the Arabic Sibylline prophecy or Sibylline prophecy. What is the Sibylline prophecy? It was actually a Christian document written in Arabic telling us how great it was to live under Muslim rule. Wouldn't it be weird if the modern Christian nationalism, Christian identityism was secretly funding and gifting the Islamic surge into Western Europe, into the United States of America, into New York City, to make people afraid so they would run to the church for protection when it's a church that's starting it? It's just like the Christian denominations, especially the Catholic Church, being the driving forces behind unchecked immigration. The Sibylline prophecy, Christian apocalyptic text from the late 8th century, written by Melkites, who were Christians in Christian churches in the Caliphate. It's called Prophecies After the Fact. All prophecies are after the fact, by the way. And it was to give encouragement and hope to Christians living under Islamic rule. It's not really that bad to live under Islamic rule. You know, really, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, there's so much the same that living under rule of any of them is like living under rule of all of them. So much so that these Christians would write a prophecy saying, hey, it's not so bad to be ruled by Muslims. Why is that the only non-Latin surviving record of this stuff? Is this coming to America? Courtesy of the Judeo-Christian fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix? Now things are starting to make sense to me. They think they can use Sharia hysteria to drive you to the Christian theonomy. I'm convinced of it now. Why are these Christian nations sitting back in Europe and letting Muslims surge in and take over their whole country? London now has a Muslim mayor. New York City now has a Muslim mayor. Why are we allowing all of these Muslims to surge across our southern borders? Why is the Catholic Church, along with people of a certain persuasion, the main sponsors of that? Are they just trying to scare the hell out of you? So you'll say, oh, the Muslims are coming. The Muslims are coming. Let's run to the church. But the church is paying for the Muslims to send the people. They think they can use Sharia, hysteria, doesn't rhyme as much as I'd like it to drive you to the Christian theonomy. As Smoochie says, they're all the same. This is part of the Kirk, MAGA, TPUSA agenda. And now it starts to make sense. Trump is about to host the first ever visit by a Syrian president to the White House. You know, all that time that, what was his name? Syrian President Assad, right? He was Christian, I'm pretty sure. Let's check. Was President Assad of Syria Christian? Maybe. But anyway, they didn't invite Assad. But look who they're going to invite now. This guy. Here he is in his jihad outfit, and here he is in his suit. And the great Imam, the great Al-Rashid just smiles. But you're still trusting the plan. Yeah, he was from France. You're right, Michelle. So it's Jeff, it's almost like you're right again. Are you really that surprised about me being right again? Cynthia was, talking about, she's always talking about the surging Muslims, and I wish that she'd come on the show, ask her what she thinks about this, but now it begins to make sense to me. Why are they letting them come in? Because it's terrifying Christians. And it'll make them want to run to protection of the church. Trust the plan. Oh, it'll be very nice. Oh, yes, most kind. Oh, very, very nice. Oh, yes, you stupid MAGA. Yeah, you stupid TPUSA. Go ahead. Yes, enjoy yourself. Have a nice time. We see you soon. Trust the plan. Mom Donnie, mayor of New York. London has a Islamic mayor. New York City's got an Islamic mayor. But don't worry about it. It's just a joke because his name is Zohran Mandami, right? Do you remember the Zohan? You don't mess with the Zohan or the Zohran. It's only one letter difference. An R, only one R. Only one R difference. And some might say that the people, the Zohan, and the people that are sponsoring the Zohran, if you know what I mean. You just can't wait. You can't make this shit up by yourself, Philby, can you? They even kind of look alike, right? The Zohan got better hair than the Zohran. Oh, yes, very nice. We see you very soon. So now you know the Charlemagne part of the code. What about the Charlie part of the code? Is the Charlie code? Oakland got a Muslim mayor. Had one. Will the new Charlie Code kill heathens? Yes. Nick Fuentes has already said job one. When Christian nationalism takes over, death penalty for all those that won't worship Jesus. Death penalty for the heathens, the pagans. And they're already secretly leveraging Islam, whether you know it or want to admit it. But what relevance does Charlemagne's example have for today's conversations about theonomy and Christian nationalism? In terms of perversions, time and time again, church power becomes abusive and dangerous when it employs the sword to enforce its rule. Charlemagne's religious wars were not the first or the last time violence has been used for Christian ends. The 1096 crusade was the first of 9 Christian crusades. What did the crusades do? Kill people that didn't agree with Christianity. You remember the Salem witch trials? I've been to the Museum of Torture in Rothenburg, Germany. What were they doing? Torturing people that didn't believe in the Jesus character. When the church has coercive power, it becomes even more warped and even more corrupted. Those who are advocating for Christian theocracy, those who love Charlie Kirk, Talking Points, Turning Point USA, Christian nationalism, Christian ID, we is kings. You might want to ask yourselves, how might these systems of government I'm promoting be abused again? Bridget says she sent me CK's financials, Jeff. Did I miss those? His IRS application for the 401(c)(3) has nothing to do with Christendom, only economic exchange without spiritual knowledge. You might resend that to me. I don't know if I saw that. Hello, Jessica May. Hello, Melanie. In terms of precedents, Charlemagne used violence for the conversion of heathens, even though I misspelled it. He relied on the sword for the advance of God's kingdom, Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk will, and his group will, rely on the sword once again for the advance of God's kingdom. Fuentes has already said they will. Hexeth has already said they will. So I'm going to play this video for you if I can figure out how to do it. It was posted on Charlie Kirk's Facebook page. We played it the other night. But now that you know what I've shared with you, it really puts this whole lying heap of psychopathic trash that's about to come out of Kirk's mouth. But Charlie Kirk says, don't worry, no one listens to Jeff. And unfortunately, he's right. So far, we're building back. We're building back better. So I'm going to try to find this on my X, and we're going to listen to it. And I want you to listen to it with what I've just shared with you in mind. Listen to it with what I've just shared with you in mind. And tell me, do you believe that Charlie Kirk is so stupid that he doesn't know the things that I know? Or is Charlie Kirk running the Charlemagne, the secret ancient Charlie code on you? Because he knows that the people he speaks to don't have the integrity or the initiative to actually study the things that he says. Which one is the answer? Neither one of them is a very good answer. But which one is the answer? That's all I ask of you. As I play this, I want you to consider what you've just heard. He is sipping a Mai Tai somewhere, Smoochie. I want you to consider what you've just heard what you've just seen, and now listen to the lies coming out of Charlie Kirk's mouth. Do you know how you can tell that Charlie Kirk is lying? Well, he's lying because his lips are moving. Why can't I share this? Cancel. Share. Window. There we go. There it is. Share system audio. Just a second. You know, this is new tonight because the OBS crashed. Window. Boom. Share audio. Share. Okay. Now listen to this with open ears. Let me turn up my sound here. It's all the way up. The sound's all the way up here. Listen to this.
In Islam, in the verses, you are allowed to lie, you are allowed to deceive in front of God as long as it advances the aims and goals of Islam. Foreign concept to those of us as Christians. Because what is the ultimate value claim of Christianity? It is truth. Because our Lord and Savior is truth, and truth became flesh. At the top of all of it, it is truth. In Islam, it is not truth. Truth is not the ultimate Islamic value. It's not. It's power. It's domination, subjugation, conquer, conquest. You see, we are called to make disciples of all nations by winning them over.
Disgusting.
By converting them with songs, praise, teaching, scripture, prayer. Islam is taking over by force. There's a reason why it is a religion of the sword. In Islam, in the verses, you are allowed to lie.
Can you believe that he has the guts to get up here and say this? Number one, we just showed you in the last D program, you'll have to go look at it, how Paul said that you are allowed to deceive, you're allowed to cheat, you're allowed to steal. Paul said, I caught you with deceit and trickery. So Kirk knows that he's lying there, and Christianity does the very same thing as Islam because it's the very same religion, just another flavor. And then he tries to tell you that Christianity is not a religion of conquest when I've proven you that it is. How many times does Charlie Kirk have to lie to you before you believe he's a liar? There's a reason why they shadow ban me. There's a reason why I can't get in front of any number of people. Way too dangerous. Where else do you hear this type of information? Where else? What you've just seen is the strategy session for the Charlie Code, the ancient Charlemagne Code, Charlie, coming down through the new Charlie. Are you kidding me? No. Truth. This is reality. This is real. It's amazing. It's amazing. Please give a thumbs up to this show. Please share this deprogram. It's the only way we're going to break through the shadow banning and the algorithms. These people are lying to you. It's the same old game with a new face, still called Charlie. Thank you, Daniel. Can't you see this? Can't you understand this? It doesn't matter, truth driven, if he believed. So what you're truth driven says, I don't believe he believed what he's saying was a lie. So you think Charlie Kirk is stupid then? You don't think Charlie Kirk knows the same history that I know? Do you really think Charlie Kirk was a stupid man? Why are you trying to defend a guy that lies through his teeth to get you to the place you're at right now? Oh, I don't know that Charlie knew. Really? Really? I wish I could get that kind of grace from you. Well, Jeff doesn't really know. Charlie Kirk damn well knew what he was saying was a lie. And if you believe him, that says a whole lot about you, my friend. I'm glad you're here, but wow, you might be wasting your time. Because if you're so assimilated that you really think that he didn't know what he was saying was true, whoo, I don't know if I can help you. I don't know if I could help you. Crazy. Crazy. I got a little bit of time here tonight. Let me see if this will work. What do you say to maybe a couple of calls? What do you think? Let me go back over here and give you something to look to so you can know how to call. Come on. I'm so perturbed with the OBS situation. It's a great program, but it's just so freaking wonky, man. It's so freaking wonky. Oh, yeah, there's an issue with my Canva now too. Isn't that something? So, let's take a couple of calls. If you can be interesting and if you can be a polite, I don't think Elder Barry, how do you know he was a sacrifice? Can you prove he was a sacrifice? Have you looked at the evidence? I don't think he was a sacrifice. Was it? I mean, a sacrifice. You got to be dead to be a sacrifice, right? Unless he was a living sacrifice. Ooh, there you go. Is Charlie Kirk a living sacrifice? Wow. Wow. 417-822-5499. That doesn't sound right, but I guess it is. When you call into that, you're going to hear welcome to the Christian Whistleblower. Press 0. And by the way, if you want to text me, if you want to, oh, he's just like Jesus. Ooh. Good one. Where if you dare tread. If you want to text me, you can text 417-822-5499 as well. Anytime. And I'll see your text and I'll try to answer your question. So if you want to call in, you just have to be polite and you have to be interesting. That's it. That's the only two requirements. You have to be polite and you have to be interesting. Your recordings are expiring. Yeah, that's okay. 417-822-5499. 417-822-5499. I'm going to do another deprogram tomorrow night. And let me show you what that one's going to look like. It's going to be a good one too. I was working on it today. Wow, there's so much here, folks. There's so much here. We'll do this tomorrow night. About 9 o'clock, probably. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel to make sure I don't change the time. But how about this tomorrow night? You ready for this? It's showtime. We got Nicolas Cage. We got Mondami. We got Heads of State. We got Snake Eyes. We got the Charlie Code. We got Crying Erica. Dry Tears Erica. I hope she's not that dry all the time, just for her own well-being. Now we know why she's wearing the white suit. We got so much to show you tomorrow night. So much to show you tomorrow night. And then, Not Your Normal Sunday, we got another extravaganza for you on Not Your Normal Sunday. What am I going to do on Not Your Normal Sunday? Let's see. I got a few things ready to rock and roll. What might I do on Not Your Normal Sunday? How about maybe a little bit of this right here? Possibly, I don't know, maybe a little bit of this on Not Your Normal Sunday. What do you think? Maybe this presentation that Charlie Kirk did, Charlie Kirk, America's a Christian Nation. How about if I just destroyed that on Not Your Normal Sunday? Yeah. Old Dry Erica. That's what we're going to call her. Dry hole Erica. No more tears, Erica. We got some good coming up for you. Some real good stuff coming up for you. Sorry for the not attaining my usual high quality delivery tonight. Don't know what the heck is wrong with the OBS. I'll figure it out. I got some time tomorrow. I'll make some time. I'll have to, won't I? Go ahead and I'm turning off the Ring Central. Nobody called. That's okay. So tomorrow night, we're going to do that one I said we're going to do. Oh, yeah. It's showtime. Sunday, maybe we'll do the Destroying Charlie. That's kind of short. We might double up on Sunday. But the one thing I want you to know tonight is you don't have original sin. You've got the spark of divinity within. Don't let these people scare you into forgetting who you are. Don't let these people scare you, thank you, Jimmy Vox, into believing that you're something other than what you are. You're divine, you're sovereign, you're free. You don't have original sin. You got the spark of divinity within. So don't go on bended knee to somebody else's savior. You're part of the last generation of real humans. And if you're really part of that last generation, we need you. If you're just playing at it, we don't. We don't. This world's going to be better than it's ever been. Because you and I have finally realized who we are. We're winning. We're winning. Don't let them scare you. This is their last desperate attempt to deceive. Not only are we going to win, though, we're going to get a little bit of a thing I like to call retribution. I'll see you tomorrow night. I salute you for being here, seeking after truth. Are you ready for a little retribution? I know I am.